Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in to today's fourth and final video. We're going to have a look at the weather for the next 10 to 14 days. For today's final video, day 10 will take us around the 28th of September. We'll be able to extend out beyond that. Let's say GFS and ECM ensembles, maybe run around a couple of weeks. Have a look at CFS V2 at the end of the video for the next 4 weeks, which gets us into the middle of October. I shall get on with that for you in a moment. Just say it's been a very busy day at GavsWeatherVids today. So we started off with our 7 AM forecast. We also released the week ahead forecast as well as the EC 6 weeks forecast too. So yeah, check out all of the videos, like, share, subscribe, all of that good stuff on the videos. Thank you so much everybody for doing that. I hope you're having a lovely Saturday as well. I'll tell you what's coming up tomorrow at the end of the video. It's going to be an exciting day. Right, let's get on with it then. So we're going to start off in Tropical Atlantic. We've got 3 interest areas. We now have Tropical Storm Odette. There it is, Tropical Storm Odette. Out in the Atlantic of the northeastern coast of America, giving maximum sustained winds of 45 miles per hour with a minimum sense pressure of 1,008 millibars, and moving northeast was at 15 miles per hour. Clicking on Odette, we can see that this tropical storm will go post-tropical as it moves further out into the Atlantic over the next 24 hours or so. So that's not going to impact the east coast of America. The eastern seaboard is safe from Odette, and that will go post-tropical, you know, over this weekend. That may have an impact though on our weather actually as an area of low pressure. That low pressure that is remains of Odette may well help to break down our ridge that we've been under for about a month now. The area of high pressure has been dominating for about a month. Odette may, you know, have a hand to play in breaking down the high pressure. More about that later on in the video. We've got this orange X just here, so that one is disturbance 2, with a 40% chance of cyclone formation in the next 2 to 5 days. And then we've got this red X just here, which is disturbance 1, with a 90% chance of cyclone formation in the next 2 to 5 days. That's going to head towards the Leeward Islands and will probably become a tropical storm sometime this weekend. Then they're saying it'll move in that direction, heading into southwestern Atlantic, and as it does so, upper level winds become less conducive for development, so it will probably weaken. So that may never make it to a hurricane. But, you know, still plenty going on, plenty to keep an eye on. We'll keep you updated. Right, central temperature is looking like this. So it's continuing its slow drop. And is now standing at 17.3, which is still over 3 degrees above average. The man is provisional to yesterday, to the 17th of September. So this has come down a bit. Remember, a few days ago, it was over 18 degrees. So we've lost about a degree of acidity. However, it's still very, very high temperature, 17.3. If it was to stay there, which it won't, but if it did, then that would be the hottest September for acidity on record since records began in 1659. Of course, it won't stay there because we are in for more unsettled and cooler weather through the final, particularly week or so of the month. Now, the warmest September on record is 16.8. That was set in 2006. We're not all that far away, but only half a degree away from that. So I reckon, you know, but the warmest September on record is safe. 2006, that record is safe. The question is, how far down will we get this? How much will we drop the CT? So I think we may get this into the 15s, but I don't think we'll get any lower than that. So if you're waiting for like a 13 Celsius CT September, that's off the table. That's not going to happen. We're not going to have a cold and average September. There's no way, you know, from where we're starting there, 17.3, and also the charts that we're looking at, as well as the number of days we have left for September. There's no way we can have a cold and average month. So that's off the table. The only question is how warm, you know, how much warmer than average will it be? I think we're probably going to run out of days to get into the 14s. It's perhaps touch and go, but I would suspect the lowest we can go with this is going to be into the 15s. Really, and even that might be an ask. In the end, it might get stuck in sort of the low 16s, but we might get this into sort of the mid to upper 15s. But I think we're going to struggle to get much lower than that, given, you know, the weather we're looking at over the next few days, given the number of days we have left for September, I think it will be a struggle to get this into the 14th, which I know a lot of you are waiting for, you know, from a winter perspective, but I reckon it's going to be a big ask from where we are right now to get that into the 14th. That's just what I'm guessing though. I've not had any update from Simon on the Weather Outlook Forum, global warming, aka global warming, on the Weather Outlook Forum, who does the projections for the CET. Not had any update from him yet, so I don't know for certain, but looking at the charts, given where we're starting from there, and the number of days that we have left, I think the lowest we're going to get this is into the 15s, to be honest, which will be a very warm September, and hardly any, as we explained in last week's winter update, hardly any cold winters. Well, one or two, but very, very, very few cold winters follow September's with CETs warmer than 15 degrees. But it remains to be seen. It remains to be seen where it's going to end up. We don't know for definite. And as soon as I get an update from Simon, I will let everyone know. Right, these are GFS upper air temperature and precipitation ensembles for the next couple of weeks. I'm looking at Great Malvern today. This is another suggested location for this part of the video. If you'd like to have your local town or city feature within this part of the video, then please let us know through comments or email me directly at GavsWeatherVids@gmail.com, and we're happy to feature your local town or city in this part of the video. Right, red line is a 30-year upper air temperature average for Great Malvern. We're starting off a bit warmer than average at the moment. We're going to go a bit cooler tomorrow, then it picks up a bit early next week when it cools down a bit. Actually, I think we might have got a bit of a zonal sine wave starting to appear here, with warmer and cooler and warmer and cooler, and maybe just there warmer and then cooler sectors alternating. So we might be starting to head into a little bit of zonality here, which would be very typical, as we go on into autumn, as we go into October. You would expect things to get more zonal, really. So yeah, we might be seeing signs of zonality there. Overall, it looks like the temperature is probably quite close to average, but there's nothing really cool signal there, which is, to lower the CT very significantly. Really, we need a northerly blast, an Arctic blast, to bring unusually cool temperatures and probably night frost to really significantly lower the overall temperature. So although the temperature will be lower and it will come down, so as I say, the warmest September on record in 2006 is safe. That's not going to be beaten. Despite that being said, I don't think we're going to be able to lower the temperature enough to get the CT certainly into the 13s, and it will be a very tall order, I think, from here to get the CT into the 14s as well. Precipitation-wise, so we have got quite a bit of rain coming up tomorrow, actually. Going to be some heavy showers and longer spells of rain. Then we're going to go drier for 2 or 3 days early next week, and then it gradually starts turning more and more unsettled. And as we go into, like, the end of September, early October, there is a signal there for things to become really quite wet, actually, as we go into October. So could we have a cold and wet start to October after this exceptionally warm and dry September? You would not be ruling it out. Temperature anomalies from the 18th to the 26th of September. Generally a little bit warmer than average, especially so for England and Wales. And the precipitation anomaly from the 18th to 26th of September is still looking drier than you would expect. And the latest wind flow map from earthnullschool.net shows that the Atlantic is livening up. Low pressure is there and there and there. Got plenty of low pressure in the Atlantic, and all of that is putting the high pressure we've been stuck under for a month, putting that high pressure under more and more pressure. Eventually, I think high pressure is going to break. The devil is in the detail in terms of how quickly that happens. Right, here we go. Let's go through the generic charts. And for this, I'm going to put a webcam back up so I shall reappear. There we go. I'm back. Right, okay. So this is how the UK Met is looking for midnight on Tuesday. High pressure is reaching back in from the southwest. So a lot of dry weather, actually, on Tuesday. On Wednesday, we find that the high pressure is clinging on by its fingertips across England and Wales, but is weakening across the northern half of the country. And then as it goes into Thursday, Friday, and on into next weekend, just increasingly weakening the high pressure and breaking it down and turning more unsettled. Low pressure coming in from the Atlantic, bringing rain, particularly to the northern half of the country probably, and a drop in the temperature as well. There is a little bit of doubt about how far south as we get the cooler air into the far south of the country. I mean, even there it will cool down at the end of the week, but the coolest weather will be in the north. Right, this is our GFS midnight rainstorm. Again, ridge of high pressure building in from the southwest on Tuesday. That gives us a couple of dry days early next week. Wednesday, look at this, cold front's starting to come into the northwest of Scotland. That pushes southeastwards across the country as we go from Wednesday into Thursday, taking a band of increasingly light and patchy rain with it, but pulling in cooler air for the north, colder air actually, probably cold enough for showers to turn wintry over the Scottish mountains, and yeah, so more autumnal feel by the time we get through to the end of next week, but still reasonably dry actually for southern and western areas. Most unsettled weather with that is up in the north. Over the weekend, next weekend, again we're looking cooler here. We're under a bit of a transient ridge from the south, still not definitively unsettled even up to this point, but as we get to day 10, low pressure really starts to deepen around Iceland. That starts to spread wet and windy weather in from the Atlantic. So for the sparse south and southeast, it could be light into the final day or so of September before we get any significant rain. Further north and west, it does look more unsettled in the second half of next week. Beyond that, heading into the early part of October, looks increasingly unsettled, actually. Low pressure in off the Atlantic brings spells of rain. So obviously, big changes taking place by early October or into genuinely wet, unsettled autumnal conditions there. Happens so often that you have a very hot and dry September and then you have a much wetter and cooler October. It's not a great scenario if you want a cold winter, I'll say that now. But there we go, it does happen a lot. Go through to the 6Z, and here we are, high pressure reaching in off the Atlantic again on Tuesday, bringing loads of dry weather. Then the high pressure breaks down on Wednesday as this cold front moves in. It's a weak cold front, but it does sort of break down the ridge. Into the second half of next week, we're into this cooler, you will say for the north, colder, northwesterly to northerly wind showers might turn wintry over the Scottish mountains, but in the south we're still reasonably protected by the ridge, so we're struggling to get much rain, I think, down into the south. Next weekend, though, turns much more unsettled with the 6Z, with this deepening area of low pressure to the north of Scotland, potentially bringing wet and windy weather in off the Atlantic next weekend. So yes, some useful rain even down in the south with that. Heading up towards day 10, it's looking rather unsettled, and that carries on really to the close days of September. Low pressures over top of the country, bringing heavy showers as well as rain. It's a more unsettled run with the 6Z compared to the midnight run, much more in the way of rain. And as we go on into early October, we just look quite cool and unsettled. There's low pressure just to our south and southeast. That could bring a bit of a deluge into the southeast actually there on the 2nd of October. It's so far out it's not worth worrying about, but if it came off that low, we'll probably bring a bit of a deluge to the southeast. We're just generally looking quite cool and quite unsettled really as we go into the early part of October. GM looks like this. If you enjoyed the video, please smash the like button. Make sure you subscribe to our channel. Thank you so much for doing that. And drop a comment, let us know what you think about this and all of our videos. We're now grinding. I started this last night on the live stream. We're grinding our way to 13k subscribers now. How exciting. Right, okay, GM. So high pressure ridges in on Tuesday, brings lots of dry, fine weather. High pressure is still across England and Wales on Wednesday, but Scotland has a cold front, bringing outbreaks of rain southwards and eastwards, and then that cold front pushing south and eastwards through Wednesday into Thursday, changing the air mass, certainly turning things a lot cooler, and for the north, also quite showery as well. Into next weekend, we're looking a little bit wet and windy, particularly so for northern and western areas. Over south, it's not all that far away from a ridge of high pressure, to be honest. By day 10, which is the 28th of September, we're just looking quite cool and wet at that point, with low pressure pushing in from the North Atlantic. And then we've got the ECM WF looking like this. So once more on Tuesday, high pressure's ridging in from the Azores, keeping the prolonged dry spell going, although there will be heavy rain in the east tomorrow actually, or about that in weekend forecast. This is how Wednesday looks. Cold front pushing southwards and eastwards. That takes a band of rain with it and lowers the temperature. Now this looks very stormy actually by the end of next week. No other model is going as stormy as this, so I think it's probably a synoptic outlier, but the ECM does have like a deep area of low pressure off the east coast of Scotland and a gale force northerly to northwesterly wind blasting down across the country. So that would really blow away the cobwebs if it came off. I have to say no other model looks as unsettled as that. It doesn't mean it's wrong, but you know, it's not all that well supported for the low pressure to deepen as much of that. But if it did come off, then we would be in for a stormy end to next week and a cold end to next week as well, because this is a proper northerly, northwesterly wind that we got there with the origins of the air from somewhere in the Arctic. Doesn't last all that long, but it keeps it unsettled into next weekend with the next low coming in off the Atlantic. That brings further spells of rain and probably quite autumnal temperatures with that as well, really. And up to day 10, low pressure is just dominating the weather, bringing further showers along as well as rain. So the ECM is probably the most unsettled and definitely the stormiest of the model runs today. This will be precipitation type forecast or precipitation forecast based on that ECM run from Meteo.com. So a few showers around today, and tomorrow may get more widespread and potentially very heavy in the east. There could be some really torrential rain across eastern areas tomorrow. Most of those showers fizzle out as we go from Monday, go through to Monday. Monday to Tuesday, it's a mostly dry day. Here comes a cold front. This is cold front on Wednesday into west of Scotland and Northern Ireland. That pushes southwards and eastwards, weakening as it does so, but perhaps bringing a few drips and drabs of rain into southeast, but also introducing a much cooler and showery pusher there from the North Atlantic. And then, of course, you have that deepening low running across Scotland, moving into East Scotland, bringing gale force winds and some really unsettled weather through the second half of next week. Remember, no other model has a low deepening as much as that in the North Sea, but if it came off, it would be a stormy end to next week. Many more extended range, just bringing more bouts of rain in off the Atlantic, really heading up towards day 10, looking quite unsettled with a fair amount of rain and pretty cool temperatures around as well. Right, so let's have a look at the ensemble table within the ECM ensembles today for day 10. These are them. So this gets us to 28th of September. We have 21 members of the ECM ensembles with low pressure dominating the weather over top of the country. High pressure, high pressure is out in the Atlantic. So there it is, just there. A bit of a mid-Atlantic ridge with low pressure over country. That's going to be cool and wet. We have 12 with low pressure to our north, high pressure to our south, winds in from west. That's going to be quite unsettled, especially for northern areas. 11 with low pressure over and just to the west of the country. That's going to be obviously very unsettled too. And then 7 have high pressure just to our east. That's going to be the driest option, probably the warmest option as well. That's bringing wind up from the south. So there is a possibility, but it's still pretty dry and warm at day 10. It's a minority option. But given what's happened over the past few weeks, you probably wouldn't rule it out. In 2 weeks' time, these are the options that we've got. This gets us to the 3rd of October. Have 14 members of the ECM ensembles with low pressure right over top of the country, just to west, in combination with some northern blocking. That's going to be cool and unsettled. 12 with low pressure to north of Scotland, income westerlies. 10 with high pressure over top of the country. Also dry weather with that one. 8 with high pressure in the northern latitudes, low pressure over country. That's going to be wet and cool. And then 7 with a mid-Atlantic ridge extending to northern blocking and low pressure over to our east, winds in from a northeasterly direction. That's going to be cool and wet, especially so for the east and for the southeast. So yeah, it looks like things are turning more unsettled, but the devil is in the detail on how it happens. Finally, let's have a look at CFS V2. These are 500 millibare heights broken down into week periods. The first week period takes from the 18th to the 24th of September, with the coming week showing a high pressure still ridging from the Azores to Scandi, but weakening as it does so. So by the time you get through to week 2, it's the 25th of September to the 1st of October, it is all change. We've got high pressure in the Atlantic up to Greenland and a trough of low pressure over and to the north and northeast of the country. Obviously, much more unsettled with that and a lot cooler as well. Into week 3, look at this. It's the 2nd to the 8th of October, northern blocking. High pressure sitting over Greenland, trough of low in from Scandinavia into Western Europe, jet streams down here somewhere, and we're bringing in the wind from the north or the northeast. So a cold and wet start to October after a hot and dry September. And then week 4 is the 9th to the 15th of October, still with low pressure to our north-northeast, still with mid-Atlantic ridge, albeit going more towards Greenland. So probably not quite as cold, but nevertheless, still unsettled, still bringing the wind in from off the Atlantic. October looking very, 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 very different there compared to what we've had through September. Really, really big contrast. Okay, if you enjoyed the video, then please go and smash the like button. Make sure you subscribe to our channel. Thank you so much for doing that. Tell your friends to subscribe as well. That's amazing and incredible. And drop a comment. Let us know what you think about this and all of our videos. If you sub, you're going to be able to see future weather content, including, and this is very exciting, future winter updates and also live streams. So give us a sub and tell your friends and family to subscribe as well. We're grinding to 13k subscribers now. Thank you so much for doing that. Right, that's it for today's videos. Now, tomorrow, exciting day, because we've got a third winter update coming up for you. However, we're going to start off with our 7 AM forecast. Then at 10, we'll release the third winter 2021-2022 update part 1. It will begin with the swingometer. The swingometer is in, so you'll be able to see how after 2 updates, update number 1, update number 2, you know, both parts of update 1 and both parts of update 2, you will see how after 2 updates we're looking in terms of whether we're favouring after 2 updates a colder winter or a milder winter. So yes, Richard's swingometer, the first one of those, is in, and that's where we'll begin with the third winter update tomorrow. Very exciting. We'll also look at things like sea surface temperature, ENSO, you know, QBO, etc, etc, etc. It's going to be a great update. Then we're live streaming from 6 PM, so I'm sure you have questions about the winter update. So I'll be taking questions, and we'll do some long range as well, as this is a Sunday live stream. And we'll do a 10 to 14 day within the live stream also. So all of that's to come from 6 o'clock tomorrow. And then part 2 of the third winter update will be released on Monday at 6 PM. And of course, that's the analog side of the winter update. Right, so that's the plan anyway. Let's hope nothing goes awry, as they can do with Gav, but that's the plan. So I shall see you either for the winter update tomorrow at 10 AM when that gets released, or for the live stream at 6. You enjoy the rest of your Saturday, and for this one, that's all for now, and thanks for watching.